Ladies and gentlemen, we are just a couple of weeks away until the start of Chiefs training camp, but we're kind of in the dead of the NFL offseason, and so I took to the YouTube community tab to ask the question, what is your Chiefs hot take? And we've got a ton of good stuff to talk about in this video. I'm joined by Josh Fan of ShowMeFootball.com, and we are going to be reacting to your Chiefs hot takes. So Josh, the first one that I want to read is coming from Cody Runge 8190. Goodness gracious. The offense returns to 2018 form. Mahomes has the most dynamic wide receiver core he has played with and goes absolutely nuclear. 5K passing yards, 50 touchdowns, and the defense puts out a top 5 effort in DVOA and forced turnovers, cementing the Chiefs dynasty. Fallen off, they just got started. The Eagles don't make the playoffs. Niners lose in the Super Bowl. Hail to the kingdom.
Wow, that hot take really went into detail. We're talking about basically what's going to happen throughout the whole season. But I feel like I always find myself saying oh, this is the year Mahomes gets back to 5,000 passing yards, 50 touchdowns. It's going to happen, and then it just doesn't. And I kind of think those days are over. And it's not even because really he's incapable. I just don't think Mahomes is a guy at this point in his career that really cares about the stats like that. And we all know Andy Reid's not the type of coach to run up the score. I don't know if I see that happening. Now, you could talk me into 4,500 passing yards. He gets back up to 35 touchdowns this year. I could definitely see that happening. 35 plus touchdowns, I should say. But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I do really like this group of wide receivers, obviously. I mean, adding Jalen Royals in the draft, bringing back Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice are going to be back. I mean, it's really exciting. But I think there's still a lot of question marks on the offensive line still that we got to figure out first.
I definitely like the wide receiver core. I think it's going to be really good. To kind of piggyback off of what you said, 5K and 50 touchdowns, that's a lot. And I don't know if we're ever going to see that version of Patrick Mahomes again, but we could see a version of 2022 Patrick Mahomes where he was good enough to win the MVP and the Chiefs won the Super Bowl that year. So I think that might be a more realistic expectation. But again, this is hot takes. We're talking about the hottest of hot takes. And I love that he had the Eagles missing the playoffs and the Niners losing in the Super Bowl. So do the Chiefs complete the trifecta and sweep the 49ers in Super Bowls?
That would be something.
That would be, talk about a hot take. That'd be incredible. But, yeah, I thought that was a great one from Cody. The next one is coming from Gage. Not sure if this is a hot take, but I think the Chiefs go 15-2 again this season. Mahomes gets his 3rd league MVP. Chiefs become the only second team ever in the Super Bowl era to make 4 straight Super Bowl appearances. Chiefs get redemption and win Super Bowl 60. Travis Kelce gets Super Bowl MVP and walks off into the sunset with another ring.
Ooh, that's a good one. 15-2 is certainly not out of the realm of possibility. Mahomes winning MVP, I don't know, man. He's going to have kind of a season like we were just talking about because he's just up against so much competition. Because we have to remember at this point, too, now that Mahomes has done what he's done in his career, he's held to a different standard than these other guys that, if, let's just say, Joe Burrow comes out this year, and has a bounce back year with the Bengals, relative to how their season went last year, and he throws for 4,500 yards and 40 touchdowns. But let's say Mahomes had more. I think they might just give it to Joe Burrow, even if Mahomes technically has the better stats, because, like I said, Mahomes is just held to a different standard now, and so it kind of makes it hard for him to win MVP, but certainly he's always going to be in that discussion. I mean, Michael, I haven't seen the odds, but I wouldn't be shocked whatsoever if Mahomes was top 3 odds to win MVP again next season.
He's going to be top 3. If he's not, he's definitely top 5 every year. And so that's kind of the expectation. I do think 15-2 again is going to be hard to achieve just because it took a lot of things going the Chiefs' way. And I guess, they did have their fair share of injury problems, but it took the ball bouncing the Chiefs' way, a blocked field goal against the Broncos, a doink off the upright. But
my counterpoint to that, Michael, would be that it's because, they messed around in the regular season and they weren't necessarily as good as we thought they were. and they were in dogfights with the Raiders at home and against the Carolina Panthers. I think we expect them to be a little bit better this year.
Yeah, I definitely think the offense has to be better, and I think they definitely will be better. Now, the whole thing about Travis Kelce getting Super Bowl MVP, since this is his last season, if there was ever a year for someone to win Super Bowl MVP on the Chiefs, not named Patrick Mahomes, it would be this year.
The only thing is when you choose a skill player to win a Super Bowl MVP, it's like if that skill player has a good game, it probably also means the quarterback had a good game, and more often than not, then they're just going to give it to the quarterback.
Yeah, and it's great for, Patrick Mahomes' legacy against Tom Brady if he gets another Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah.
So I do think it'd be awesome, and like you said, I mean, just riding off into the sunset with a Super Bowl MVP, the writers in Hollywood could not script it any better than that. The NFL writers could just outdo themselves if that ends up happening. But I thought that was a fantastic take from Gage. Now, the next hot take, the Chiefs' offense leads NFL to number 1 in points, yards, point differential, and top 10 defense. Get the 1 seed and below through the AFC and dominate NFC in Super Bowl. Mahomes gets Super Bowl MVP with over 300 yards, 5 touchdowns, 4 passing, 1 rushing.
That is very specific.
Scorching hot take also. Because listen, the Chiefs could win the Super Bowl this year. Patrick Mahomes has never had like a Patrick Mahomes type of performance in a Super Bowl. Like, and what I mean by that, he's never gone out there and went scorched earth in the biggest game of the year.
From beginning to end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a conversation I've had with myself, honestly, a lot this offseason. Like, when I'm just thinking about the Chiefs, I'm like, every single time in the Super Bowl, like even, and it always sticks in my mind now, like even in this most recent Super Bowl where we know that the Chiefs got ran off the field, the sideline reporter talked to Patrick Mahomes right before the game, and he said, we want to start fast. That's the most important thing. And they've been saying pretty much every year now in the Super Bowl, we want to start fast. And then it just doesn't happen. So I don't know what's up with that. And it's like, I'm not saying Mahomes isn't a big game player. Obviously, he's had a lot of incredible postseason games. But it's like the Super Bowl almost takes it to a level where it's like Mahomes almost is unsure of himself for like the first half every single time.
Or it's almost like everyone else around him kind of panics a little bit because, I mean, whether it's the offensive line in 2 of their Super Bowls or, the wide receivers not catching passes, like even going back to the last Super Bowl, DeAndre Hopkins dropped that ball where he was wide open. And it's just like the Chiefs can't catch a break. And so maybe the guys around him kind of press a little bit. I mean, I do think if we just kind of look at this, hot take, I'm not sure if the Chiefs' offense is going to be number 1 in the NFL, and they're definitely not going to be number 1, in points, yards, and point differential, but they could absolutely be top, 5, top 3, and if everyone is healthy and everyone is able to, live up to the hype and expectations, then having a top 5 offense is not out of the realm of possibility at all.
Yeah, I think the talent's definitely there. And I know we weren't really talking about the defense, but I also think the defense overall has more talent than it did last year. So I think there's a very good chance that we could see both sides of the ball improve next year for the Chiefs.
When a top 10 defense is the expectation, in my mind. I don't think that we're expecting them to be the best defense in the NFL, but if they're not top 10, the Chiefs might not be the 15-2 team that everyone thinks that they can be. But, Josh, before we get to this next hot take, I want to give a huge thanks to the sponsors of this video. The Hollywood Casino at Kansas Speedway is the place to be. With over 1,500 slot machines, 35 table games, 4 restaurants, and a new ESPN Bet sportsbook, there are plenty of ways to find your fun. For more chances to win, follow them on social media on Facebook, Instagram, and X. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. At Rice Real Estate Group, they're more than just a real estate team. They're a full-service partner in residential, commercial, and investment properties. They specialize in guiding clients through every stage, from the buying and selling process to handling complex, short sale situations with ease. Their passion lies in the personal one-on-one care they bring to every client relationship, ensuring each experience is tailored, smooth, and successful. Here it's all about building trust, delivering expertise, and ensuring every client feels valued throughout their journey. For more information, call Marla Rice at 816-819-9333. Huge thanks to the sponsors of this video. And getting back into the hot takes that you guys gave, this one's interesting. This one coming from Evil Goat Boy. Our mascot is absolutely stupid. Bring back Chief with the horse. So he's obviously talking about war paint.
Yeah.
Now the Chiefs kind of had to, discontinue war paint, but it's kind of funny that we got this comment about the mascot because Dan Mears, the guy that was Casey Wolf, just actually retired after 38 years of being the mascot, which I've got some strong thoughts about.
I didn't even realize it was the same guy doing it this entire time. I just thought, it's kind of like...
They've got a couple different Casey Wolves, but he was the main one.
Okay.
But I've got my own strong opinions on people who are mascots and all that kind of fun stuff. Not going to share them in this video, but I actually talked about that on the radio, on Sports Radio 810 WHB. But I do want to get your thoughts on this. Like, do you think the Chiefs should maybe try to bring back a different mascot, or what do you think about Casey Wolf? Because it is kind of odd that for the Chiefs mascot, we've got a wolf.
Yeah, I don't know. I like Casey Wolf. I think he's personable. I mean, I feel like it fits, even though there's not a direct correlation there. However, it's like, what can you do as far as... Because I'm assuming this person that, left that hot take is like, we need something that matches the Chiefs more, because they brought up war paint. It's like, it's kind of hard to... It's kind of hard to find something that wouldn't be considered offensive now if we're trying to, appropriate the Chiefs' name to the mascot.
I was going to say, it's definitely a touchy subject, and so I think we'll probably just stick with Casey Wolf, but I don't think that was the hottest take that we got on this poll. But the next one is another AFC Championship appearance, I hope, which I don't think is a hot take when you've been to, 7 AFC Championship games in a row?
Yeah, it's been a lot.
So that's almost the expectation. I don't think that's a hot take whatsoever. Now this one absolutely is a hot take. I think we go 20-0.
Who said that?
Not even going to try to pronounce the screen name. I'll put it up on the screen, though, but I think we go 20-0. I think that is a very, very, very... And someone actually replied to it saying, I don't think so. So it's just kind of like, yeah, it's a hot take. Very hot take.
No, I just... Because you have to think about... If they were 20... In order to go 20-0... So... The last week of the season, if they were on track for a 20-0 season, they would rest all the starters, right? And it's like they probably will lose that last game of the regular season then.
Maybe.
So it's like
if
you can't go
19-0, they might play everybody.
I don't think they care about that. I mean, this team has shown pretty recently that, in the last week of the season, they're not chasing records. With Kelsey sitting out instead of getting 1,000 yards and sitting out the starters, even this past season with the record that they had. I mean, they could have easily went undefeated in the regular season last year, but I don't think they want that added pressure. I mean, I guess, last year there was already pressure because of the three-peat, and they just didn't want the added pressure of being undefeated. But I don't think that's something that this team cares about, and they will drop one somewhere on that schedule.
Yeah.
So...
And I don't think they're going to be necessarily as good as they were last year record-wise. But I don't think they have to be 15-2 to get the number one seed in the AFC. You could probably go, 13-4, 14-3, and still have a really good shot to get the number one overall seed.
Well, and it wasn't even like it was a dominant 15-2. We were just talking about how many close games they had and weird games where the Raiders game, they should have lost that one they had at home late in the season. There was no reason the Chiefs should have won that game, but the Raiders, inexplicably fumble the snap, and then the Chiefs recover, even though
a blocked
the Raiders
kick, a blocked field goal.
Crazy stuff. But I think they can be definitely kind of what you're getting at, an overall better team, even if the record isn't necessarily better.
Now, one of the last ones that we're going to talk about in this video, Arrowhead to remain in Missouri. Work on a dome for the lovely ladies. So I don't think that with all of the stuff going on, because the Star Bonds in Kansas just got extended. And so right now, and the Chiefs actually requested that the star bonds be extended. So
well, they would be stupid not to,
Yeah.
because that's their entire leverage over the state of Missouri, is that
Yeah.
Kansas has these star bonds. So even if they didn't plan on moving, they would still be dumb not to request that get extended.
Which I'll say this because I don't really want to dive into the whole stadium issue right now because that's something that we don't have the time for in this video. But I'll say this. If the Chiefs stay in Missouri, they will be at Arrowhead Stadium. If they go to Kansas, they'll be, who knows where they'll be in Kansas, probably out in the Legends. But I think it's pretty safe to assume that if the Chiefs stay in Missouri, they're not building another stadium. They're going to be at Arrowhead.
No, yeah, we talked about this in a recent video, and I remember you saying, like, there is no new stadium in Missouri. It's either you stay at Arrowhead or it's a dome in Kansas. Those are the two options.
Yeah, and so I think that we're going to just have to wait and see what they decide to do. I mean, it's going to take probably another year or so till we actually find out what the Chiefs decide to do, but you got to think, like, this is a decision for the next 50 to 60 years, and so they're going to make it, accordingly, and they're going to take their time with it. But Josh, that was our video. We're reacting to Chiefs fans' hot takes. Guys, I want to say that if you've got a hot take that you want to share, comment it down below on this video. We're going to try to react to more of these during this little down period between, July 1st and training camp. So if you guys have a hot take, definitely comment it down below. And Josh, my final question for you is, where can the people find your stuff?
You can find me here on YouTube. Channel name is Show Me Football. You can follow me on Twitter at ShowMeFB and check out my work on ShowMeFootball.com.
And guys, all that stuff will be linked in the description of this video. Hit that like button, subscribe for more daily Chiefs content. Until next time, guys, thank you for watching. And as always, go Chiefs.